Perfect.
My bad, hit the wrong fucking thing. What's the motherfucking deal, man? Welcome to The Den. If you're not familiar with The Den is a place where we can have open and honest conversation, man. We got plenty to talk about tonight because there is an attack on masculinity in America, and we're going to address that. We're going to speak on that. But before we get into that, man, I'm your host, Ed Honcho. If you don't know, welcome everybody to the Den. I hope you guys are having a good evening. And you probably want to know, Honcho, you on some old hype and shit, you on some old crazy shit. But no, it has been brought forth by the American Psychological Association that essentially manhood, being male, being masculine, is a mental disorder. And it was recently released earlier this year, a couple of days ago, I want to say about 2-3 days ago. It's starting to make the rounds. If you haven't seen the article, I should have put the link in the thing, but I didn't. I will. But before we get into this conversation, man, we gotta address which friends in the Den or joining us this evening. If you're not familiar with the Den is, like I say, a place where we can have conversation. We can speak on whatever's on your mind, but we'll try our best to stick to the topic at hand. So, again, I hope you're all doing well. I hope everybody is doing wonderful. Let's see who we have joining us this evening. Let me make sure I put that out there. All right. I don't know if I got a minute. Okay. Give it a second. I forgot to put that on the ground. So now, let's see who we got joining us tonight. And we're going to have a good conversation tonight, man, because I think this is something that needs to be discussed. We've talked about the way that society's been trending for quite some time, and I think that it is very interesting. J&J, Ray, number one, bitches, what's the motherfucking deal? Man, always good to see you, Ray. Scrooston, Kenneth, Anthony Bailey, what's the motherfucking deal? Ferocious, what's the motherfucking deal? Let's see. Baker Man, what's the motherfucking deal? Kenneth, they see today, and that shit's terrible. Well, I don't know what to tell you about that. Berkeley Boss, what's the motherfucking deal? Beyond the funny nigga, Joseph Tenney, new phone, new year. That's what I'm talking about, man. Wise, Jaja Era, what's the motherfucking deal, man? Good to see all of y'all, man. Good to see all of y'all. Yeah. And this is what I'm saying. And this is something that people have been saying for a while. And people say, you know, people like to act like people are crazy. And I used to kind of look at them, what are they talking crazy? But you got to understand what's the word I want to look for? I don't want to say the elitists. It's not the elitists. It's the intellectuals. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with being intelligent. Nothing wrong with that. But let's be honest. Most intellectuals aren't people that you would say, hey, that's a manly man, or it's the woman. And I hope she's not a manly man. But there's this concerted effort to demolish manhood. You know what I'm saying? There is a real thing going on. It's not even behind the scenes anymore. You know, we've seen the Me Too movements, and I'm not saying that that's a definition of masculinity or what's going on or anything with that. You know, that's just people who are overly aggressive. But I think they've pushed that to a level where it's going too far. We've seen the new wave in feminism, and I say I have no issue with women having rights. I have no issue with equality. I believe that everyone should have an equal opportunity and equal access to opportunity. I'm sorry. And so I have nothing wrong with, you know, treating people fairly. I believe everybody should be, you know, respected until they get disrespectful. And shit, Baker, man, it basically already is, man. It already is. So my thing is, I read this article, and I'm gonna just kind of, you know, snag a couple of bits out of it. Okay, basically what it is, the APA is releasing guidelines to help psychologists work with men and boys. Okay, and so it was releasing a bunch of numbers, and there was some very interesting things in this article, and we're going to get to a conversation we have often too, because the numbers were very interesting to me. But basically it was just saying, you know, as of 2018, you know, 95.2% of COOs at Fortune 500 companies are men. You know, 16 of the top companies, 80% of all high-ranking executives are men. You know, Congress in 2017, 81% male. You know, again, like they're trying to find ways to validate, you know, skewing the numbers. It is what it is. But like I say, they were talking about men, commit 90% of homicides, and they represent 77% of homicide victims. They're in the demographic group most at risk of being victimized by violent crime. 3.5 times more likely than women to die by suicide. There's a nuance in that we're going to get to in a little bit. Their life expectancy is 5 years shorter than women. Again, nuances to get into that. We're talking about they're more likely to be diagnosed for ADD or ADHD, and more likely to receive punishments in school and things of that nature. So they're talking about 13 years in the making. So that tells you that they've been on this kick since, 2019? So 2006. And I think you could go back and look, in those years you've noticed that the culture has changed drastically. Because let's be honest, late 90s, early 2000s, and again, this is not against anybody, but homosexuality was not as widely accepted as it is now. And when you think homosexuality, and again, I think it's a label, but you think of the flamboyant, the overly feminine, I'm sure there's others that are not, but you can go to any prison. I'm sure there's others that are not, but, all stalls, no urinals, ain't that a bitch, boy? You think you had issues like the women's restroom, if that's the case, but Jalen Ramsey. You tell me who's a homosexual. Ellen started the gay trend, and that's funny because Ellen is actually like, I don't let me not put it like that. We'll talk about that. But yeah, when she came out on the show, that did start a whole wave. I ain't gonna lie, that started a major wave. But that's kind of the first part of the article. Like I said, we'll get to some other parts of it. This is some of my commentary on it. But basically, saying that they draw on more than 40 years of research showing that traditional masculinity is psychologically harmful and that socializing boys to suppress their emotion causes damage that echoes both inwardly and outwardly. Okay. I agree and disagree. I think there's a time and a place for everything. As a man, hey, sometimes there's certain situations you got to handle on your own. So, I think that, and it's funny because you see a lot of it. You got to deal with problems. I've had my issues and things that I've had to deal with that are tough. But generally, I'm trying to figure these things out on my own. Do I feel like it caused a problem? Do I feel like it caused an issue or anything of that nature? In the long run, no. It was tough to deal with at the time, but eventually you get over it, you move forward. And again, there are places to seek help when you have these issues. But the funny thing about it now is the people that you are going to be seeking help from are going to be telling you, well, the problem with you is that you're a man. It's the problem with you is the testosterone. The problem with you is your natural genetics. That make you do what you do. You can understand what the jobs that are most dangerous in the world. I should have pulled up that graphic too. I had it up the other day. And I want to say it's like fishermen and like loggers or like somewhere at the very, very top. But the higher the percentage of men in that field, generally, the more dangerous the job is. But again, we don't hear them crying about stuff like that. That's a whole nother conversation. They want to be it's the CEOs and the executives and things of that nature. And I think any business knows, hey, if you're better at making money from my business, I'm going to put you at the top, not just because you look like this or look like that. We talk about the myth of, women make less in business. I think that's a myth also, because if that was the case, then why wouldn't I just hire all women if they could all do the exact same job, and I'd be able to do, my job for much cheaper? What do they say, like 30%? Let's say some outrageous numbers that are not quite always factual. Again, there's always nuance, and you got to look at where studies and things like this come from, and discover. So, I find it unfortunate because now what I'm saying is they're the way that the standards are taught. Psychiatrists and people like that, they're going to start operating differently. So if you're going to seek help from someone, you almost have an idea already of how they're going to try to skew the problem. They're not going to look for the real issues. They're going to blame it on your masculinity. They probably start giving you fucking estrogen pills and shit. But you look at the toughest jobs. You look at the important jobs that are mainly male-dominated fields. You look at jobs like policemen and firemen and, the tough jobs that require, again, we talked about logging and other stuff, construction. These are usually fueled by people who are more willing to take risks with their life. What does the testosterone, what is masculinity about? Willing to take the necessary risks to move forward in your life. And so when you start telling guys, hey, let's not do that, let's not do this, let's be safe and let's be nice and let's all get along. Okay, then that's when therein lies the problem. You're going to have people who are less willing to stand up for what they believe in. And again, that's what, big society. We'll call them big society. That's what they want. They don't want you to fight back. They don't want to. Should women be in positions of leadership? Very interesting question. Very interesting question. Now, and I have different perspectives on this. I remember the guy, what's his name? I forgot what they call him, the business guy, but he was talking about Kevin O'Leary, I think is his name. And he was talking about, companies that he started, and he said, that he had companies that were ran by all women, and they were always pretty much successful and goal oriented. They, the goals that they set for themselves would be more rational, but they would always obtain the goals. The goals that the men would set for those businesses would usually be much more out of reach, I guess you would say. I don't want to say out of reach. I mean, it's a goal. You don't want to ever think it's out of reach, but that they would fail more often because they would set more lofty goals. So is that a bad thing? I don't know, because it depends on, I guess, the outcome that you're reaching. It might just be a skewed perspective in the sense of, well, what I think I can accomplish and what I actually accomplish. Because you can set the bar real low. Well, my goal is to sell 100 books. I'm not selling any books yet. Maybe one day soon. But sell 100 books. And I meet that goal, cool. Or I sell 250. Or if my original goal is I say I'm going to sell 1,000 books and I still sell that 250. I've obtained the same outcome. Just the number that I wanted originally was different. And I think that's just kind of how that is skewed. You have people who say, well, go look at Iceland and look at all this other stuff in these other countries. Those countries don't get involved in too much. They talk about men are the reason wars and all this other stuff happen. But guess what? This is true. But guess what happens if we kill all that here in America? There's a lot of other countries out there that are still male dominated. Say, okay, well, there's a pot of gold over there. Okay. And basically nobody's going to protect it. Nobody's going to stop us. They're going to take it. Or they're going to be nice and friendly. We're going to try to talk you out of it. And while we talking, they're going to start fighting. And who's going to lose? Kenneth, I'm going to write a book on how the most swift way to time somebody out. That's what I'm gonna do. But the thing about it is, I don't know. I think in certain aspects there are good places for women to be in leadership, but I think we have some problems, and I think it starts at the elementary level, because now you think about it, when you're sending kids to school, it's the women that are pushing their ideologies from young, that are teaching them. They may not act in a certain behavior. So when a little boy acts out in a certain behavior as a boy would, it's a bad thing. He's misbehaving. Now, if a girl probably acts in the same behavior, she must have something wrong. It must be emotional distress. It may be something else. That's just boys' behavior. But when women do it, it's a problem. So I think that that's an issue that. You say you can't. But I think that's an issue that, that needs to be looked at. And I know that there have been people who've talked about, starting boys' schools with male teachers, and they got all kind of flack and stuff like this. But I think it's important, man. I really do. I think that from young that, men have to be more a part of their sons' lives. I know we always say your mother's the first teacher. The man has to go off and work and do all these things like that. Well, society's different now, and there's different crafts and different fields. But I think when you have the time, you have to instill certain behaviors in your child, because what it is that society is determined to teach them something else, to make them assimilate to their wishes. And again, the more docile you are, the less what's the word? I had the word in my mind and fucking slipped out. The less hostile, you're willing to be for what you believe in, and the easier you are to push over. The easier it is for you to just acclimate to what we're trying to get you to do. You're not going to push back, because then they're going to tell you, well, pushing back is wrong, or being angry is wrong, and fighting for what you believe in is wrong. And so again, like I say, it's a bad situation, because now they're legitimately trying to tell you that, okay, well, being a man, what's natural and biological these days is seen as wrong. It doesn't make any fucking sense. So what are they going to start doing? They're already putting it in the food. You already see, there's already been the studies behind soy and what it does to your testosterone. It makes you more ladylike. The estrogen levels increase in people who consume lots of soy. So, if you're a fan of soy lattes, you may want to reconsider that. It's a dangerous world, because again, like I said, you got to know what you're consuming. You got to know what you're doing. There's a lot of underlying things that are going on. And again, you look at the increase in acceptance. And again, like I said, I'm not about disrespecting anybody. Everybody's entitled to do what you want. You respect me, I respect you. But you look at the increase in the acceptance of, the homosexual behavior is becoming more commonplace. Okay, getting married and all this other stuff. You look at now I'm a ma'am, clearly, the transgender situation, respecting transgender rights. So what is the pushback? Where's the real pushback from that? Because when you have more homosexual activity going on, who does that favor? What sex does that favor? It favors the women, because now that whole toxic masculinity world, these guys, they appear to be more effeminate, or if they are, they're more in pursuit of other men. So that takes women completely out of the equation as to having to deal with these kind of men. The transgender situation, as women, you benefit because now you got men who are acting like women who don't want women, or they're acting more feminized, so they're not aggressive or whatever else in that sense, even though we know what really is. So now that's taking pressure off of women in a sense. And then the ones who are the reverse, women going to men or whatever, they're going to be in favor of things that benefit women in the same fashion. So now it's the natural aggressive male. He's the bad guy. He's the one that's causing problems. But yet he's the same one that risks his life in an irrational manner to go and protect others and puts his life on the line to save others. But yet somehow this is looked upon as a negative. And that's the crazy things, man. So that you have to look at. If you get rid of this quote unquote toxic masculinity, because if it's toxic to itself. Because again, these are your fighters, these are your warriors, these are your leaders, these are the ones who are willing to take the risk to go out on the limb to, save others, to, if I'm not going to be toxic, if I'm going to be whatever, well, okay, this building's burning down. I'm not running in there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not running in there to save anybody. That's going to put me in danger. That's the masculinity. That's the testosterone that fuels that. But we don't, yeah, Kenny, man, you went back to school today, man. How many shoelaces did you tie? How many backpacks did you carry, man? We're trying to find out. I was going to ask on the mixer last night. I know you've been waiting for it. It's simping season, so I know you own it. But basically, they were saying, prior to the second wave feminist movement, all psychology was the psychology of men. Most major studies were only done on white men and boys who stood for proxies as human as whole. Assumed that masculinity and femininity were opposite ends of a spectrum. Healthy psychology entailed identifying strongly with the gender roles conferred by a person's biological sex. But this old psychology left out women and people of color conformed to gender role stereotypes, It failed to take the man's gendered experiences into account. Once psychologists began studying experience of women through a gender lens, it became increasingly clear that the study of men needed the same gender-aware approach, says Levine. I don't know what Levine is. The main thrust of the subsequent research is that traditional masculinity, marked by stoicism, nothing wrong with that, competitiveness, nothing wrong with that, dominance and aggression, nothing wrong with that, is on the whole harmful. Men socializing this way are less likely to engage in healthy behavior. So what is a healthy behavior? What does that mean? Again, aggression and dominance. Who goes to war? You want guys to go to war and be timid? You want guys to go to war, especially if they're going into another country that you believe has terrorists and all this other activity going on. You want them to be, what are they supposed to go out and say, hey, man, let's talk about it. Let's talk about this. We need to discuss these problems. I mean, what do you expect? Competitiveness. We love sports. We love, competition in many facets. Why? Because competition drives you to be a better person. It drives you to be a better version of yourself, because it motivates you, to know that somebody else is working out there diligently. It pushes you to want to work harder. It gives you a valid reason to be better, and it's not about just outdoing that person, but it's about being the best version of yourself. Stoicism, I think nothing wrong with stoicism. It's basically, let me make sure we give the right definition, because sometimes I have definitions for things and, it's my definition. It may not be the most accurate. It's just kind of how I interpret it. But it's kind of thinking without as much emotion, more rational, more logical thinking. Yeah, see, repression of emotion, indifference to pleasure or pain. Exactly. And again, so it's more logic. It's not about, where do I benefit or where do I get harmed? Again, when you take out the pleasure and pain and you're thinking logically, you're going to think about what's best to get the outcome, not how I feel about getting the outcome. Some things just need to be done, So again, it is very, warn the pussy. I beat the pussy up. I guess I'm too aggressive, but, and that's the problem. You say sexual equality is the reason for the higher divorce rate today. I can believe that because what you have nowadays is women don't want to lead you. They don't want to be your fucking mother. Okay. They want you to stand up. They want to feel protected. And so that's why I say these things that you're hearing, there's a positive and a negative to it. The positive, the negative is if you're believing this shit, you're going to end up like Kenneth. You're bound to lose. If you can't swim, you bizound to drizound. But the positive is for men who basically say, fuck this bullshit. I'm going to keep on as I've been keeping on. I'm going to continue operating like a man. Your opportunity, let's say, will improve amongst everybody. Because it's going to be less competition. It's going to be easier for you to win because you got a bunch of motherfuckers falling out the race. You got a bunch of motherfuckers out there. We talk about white knighting and all those other things. But the deal is, when it comes down to it, a woman wants to feel protected. She wants to feel, validated in her choice. She wants to have the genes of, someone that is going to care for her and her offspring, or put her in the best position of security is what she wants to feel. So if a motherfucker come up and try to mug y'all and you hiding behind her and just give him the purse, just give it to him, then, she's going to look at you differently. Or, if she's taking leadership roles in the majority of aspects, she's going to look at you differently. And so I can agree that, it may work temporarily, but eventually, it wears down on them, and they may think they want to be leaders, but you see a lot of these independent women and the situations they get into, it definitely causes some tension, and so you have to adjust, you have to regulate that shit. So again, it is what it is. There would be no family chiefs. They committed to growth. Man, that's how my grandma was. See, my mom had told me a story the other day about my grandma. And I would never have imagined that she would have jammed my grandpa up like that because he was getting foolish one day. Tried to put his hands on her because he was the nicest, calmest old lady. Unless you took her to the mall, you could not find her. You might as well fucking play a fucking game of hide and seek. You're not gonna find her. I'm gonna be in this store over here, baby. Just when you're ready, come get me. You go to that store, she gone. You know what I'm saying? you can't motherfucking find her. She bad. I'd never see the old folk move that fast. But it is what it is. And it says gender, sexual minorities too. Continue to read the article, some excerpts from the article. Must too grapple with the societal views of masculinity. This is never shifting territory. When they launched the guideline drafting prostitutes out of 5, only Massachusetts recognized same-sex marriage today. Again, so we were talking about back then, but I said 2006 earlier. So 2005, 13 years. I guess they released it today. So then earlier this year is 2019. So today, transgender issues at the forefront of the cultural conversation. There's an increased awareness of the diversity of gender identity. And again, like I say, it's funny, the parallels, or not the parallels, but the pushback. So when you start pushing one belief, it pushes up against the other belief. And so this has been wrong. This isn't right. And when they talk about transgender, I believe it's only like a very, very small percentage. When you talk about gay and transgender, it's a very, very small percentage of society. And not saying that just because you're a small percent, you shouldn't have rights or anything like that. But when does the needs of the few outweigh the many? When is that justified? When is that validated? It makes you question a lot of things. It makes you consider a lot. And speaking of, masculinity and all that, let me get real masculine on y'all. I'm gonna pull a jack move real quick. Even the chat games are masculinity. But here's the deal. I'm bullying people and shit. Damn, I took 2 L's. But anyway, like I say, it's about pushing it, back and forth again, push it up against the traditional beliefs, So you just look at it and you're just like, man, why is it that what I've traditionally believed in has been okay for me? I don't think I have any issues. I don't think I deal with too much in the sense of that. I don't think I have any problems. And everything that I've had to deal with, especially mentally, I felt like I've overcome. Now, not everybody's going to work that way, but it is what it is. But again, like I said, it goes on to say that, and this is what I'm saying. This is when that conversation started, the non-binary is what they started trying to push. What is gender in the 2010s? Asked Ryan McDermott, psychologist at the University of South Alabama, who helped draft the men's guidelines. It's no longer just this male-female binary. Well, when you look at it, it's only one or two types of behaviors. Now, you could talk about traditional gender roles. You could talk about whatever it is, but it's a certain set of behaviors. I don't think it crosses over. Like I say, what happens is they're trying to convolute everything so much to make it confusing. Okay. And I'm not saying that there aren't women who like to, work on cars. They like to shoot guns and do all that other stuff. But I don't think those women are always, some of them again are feminine, but again, there are little things, but I don't think this is a real definition of, the differences. And so again, like I say, the traditional gender roles, it's these terms that they use are very interesting. But like I says, now, though there's more flexibility in gender norms than 30 years ago, according to Lang and McDermott, boys and men who identify as gay, bisexual, or transgender, but if they identify as transgender, are they not supposed to be trans women then? I don't know how that works. Still face higher than average levels of hostility and pressure to conform to the masculine norms. 2015 National School Climate Survey found that 85% of the Alphabet Gang students reported to nonverbal harassment at school over their sexual orientation or gender expression. Gender nonconforming students reported worse treatment than, again, because it's a confusing thing. So you just, anyway, we'll get to that in a second. Who conform to traditional gender norms. These kind of results indicate that gender policing still occurs. Okay. Now, even as a straight man, you still get called all kind of shit. And I think maybe when you are of that other ilk, then, maybe it may be more personal or something than a person who's just like, oh, shut your, when motherfucker, oh, shut your gay ass up or something like that. I think that, I ain't freeing nobody. I think that, maybe that is part of what they're talking about. But then again, you have a lot of sensitive people in these situations. And so, again, I don't know how much I buy into it because I talk about, you got to look at the source, who's funded these studies and where it came from. You have to discuss a lot of things that go in with this. And again, so it's very interesting to see what happens with that. Okay. I think we got something. I thought it was a text message. We're going to say I want to finish reading a couple little things, but I want to get down to it because I want to break down some of these numbers. And this is where it got really interesting to me because this is a conversation we've had frequently the last few days as far as when we started talking about, we were talking about the Justice for Jasmine thing. And we were talking about the chick yesterday who got out for the murder thing. But like I say, these numbers here, and it may skew the conversation a little bit. We'll come back to it. But this is what really caught my eye because it says, you got to look at statistics. You really got to look at the numbers. And again, we talk about nuances and the real details in those numbers. So it says men commit 90% of homicides in the United States and represent 77% of the homicide victims. Okay. And I want to scroll down to another part. I don't know if it includes that. I think they skipped over this. Hold on. It might have been on another article that I saw it. Yeah, they skipped over the details in this because of this particular article. But it was talking about basically when you look at those numbers, me, I don't know what all the rest of you, but as black men, we have the highest rates of murder that's against ourselves. And so what I'm saying is out of 100,000 people, out of 100,000 people in the population, you got the average for all races is 5.7. So you can almost say 6 people out of 100,000 get murdered. 2.6 for whites, 5 for Hispanics, 21, not 21 Savage, 21 for black men. And the overwhelming majority, we talk about this, that we kill ourselves. And this is where, the rest of the article, it is what it is. But this is where I start finding the problem because it got me thinking, like, why is this an issue? And we'll discuss that, shortly. But the thing about it was saying that the single greatest death for young black men between the ages of 18 and 35 is homicide, and that's ridiculous. I mean, it really is, man. The number one homicide is the number one cause of death for African Americans in all age groups from 15 to 34. So you have three groups there: 15 to 19, 20 to 24, and then 25 to 34. That is ridiculous. You know what I mean? And it doesn't make sense as to why these behaviors are what they are. But again, as far when it comes to overdoses and things like that, I think the white overdose rate is 50% higher than blacks, 167% higher than Hispanics. Hispanics, they got that high damn tolerance. But they're talking about suicide rate, though, amongst whites are much higher, like 6 times as high as, any other group. So it's, not about 3 times, I'm sorry. And so with the adjusted rate. But the thing about it is that the average white person is more likely to die by suicide than a car accident. And then you start to wonder what's going on in that situation. Why is it, what is going on in the world that is killing? And why is it these different groups have these issues? We're killing ourselves. White people are, with black people, we're killing each other. And then white people are killing themselves. What is causing these problems, man? What is causing these issues, and why are they so prevalent? And as I said, I just kind of want to put that out there, man. So my thing is, let me get my black fire back up. My thing is, and these are men, and again, I don't have the lady statistics. And again, actually, it might have been the female part, but we'll see. But again, what is wrong with masculinity? And that's kind of what I want to get back to. We'll talk about some of those other things. I just kind of want to throw those into the conversation. But what is wrong with masculinity? What are the negatives that masculinity causes? The thing about testosterone and stuff, it again, like I said, it causes you to take the risk. So either you're going to be a risk taker on, what did they say, the sheepdogs or the wolf. So you're going to be a protector, or you're going to be the attacker. So testosterone is what fuels crime, but it also is what fuels people to go out and protect people from harm. So it ain't even just about crime with people. It's the thing that makes people go out in the wilderness and hunt for food to feed their families. They want to make us all, and I did the vegan thing for a little while, vegetarian thing. There's nothing wrong with that. And I may try it again. But they want us to all be eating fake foods, to be passive, to be compliant, and not put up any risk. They don't want us to fight back. They don't want to, it's basically what it is. When you start seeing what's going on with the ideas, the mentality that they're trying to push in this country, accept everybody, accept everything, everything's okay, nothing's wrong. Nothing wrong. It causes you to be aggressive. Yeah, it makes me bad, angry too. But again, that's football. There's no testosterone. There's no football. Okay, even in the lingerie league, they got a little bit of something. Even in the ladies UFC, Cyborg got something going on over there. I don't know exactly what it is. Cyborg might be a little higher than average. I'm just saying. So again, this is a conversation that we need to have. So what I'm going to do here is, like I said, I've kind of read that off and kind of spilled a little bit of my thoughts on it. I'm gonna open up the line, and I want to know what y'all feel. I want to know what y'all think. Nunez fucking whooping motherfuckers with the quickness. I want to know what y'all think about this, and why do you think that society is pushing this? How do you feel like masculinity, testosterone, or whatever it is, has caused you problems? Or do you think that it makes you better than what you are? Could you imagine yourself more docile, more feminine? How would that have benefited your life up until this point now? Or even if society was more docile, more feminine? Do you think that would be a benefit for society? How would that change or improve? Or would that negate and cause more negatives? I want to know how you feel. Like I said, I'm going to open up the line. Give me just a second here. And we're going to have a conversation. I just want to know what y'all think overall. And give me 1 second. What do we got going on here? I'll make sure. That's what I say. I appreciate that love coming from this. Let me see. I'm gonna start looking at some other shit. Some interesting messages came in. I apologize for that. Okay, yeah, we good. We Gucci. All right. So we'll open up the Denline and we'll take some calls. The number is 281-901-1DEN, 281-901-1336. Okay. And again, I want to know how y'all feel about this. All right. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den this evening?
What's up, Honcho? This is Ernest, man.
Ernest, what's the motherfucking deal, man? Good to hear from you. What you want to drop in the den tonight?
Yeah, man. Before I get to the topic, bro, I tried to call into the sauce, man. Y'all had a good conversation. So I just want to throw that in there real quick. My conclusion, bro.
Okay.
If that's all right.
Oh, yeah, go for it. Go ahead.
All right. All right, bet. B.O.B., bro. Playoff game. I thought he called a good game, bro.
Yeah.
What I seen was lack of execution, bro. Lack of execution. And plus the defense couldn't stop nobody in the first half. In a nutshell, that's what happened and why we lost the way we lost. Now, if Jim Harbaugh was to come in, would I be mad? No. But I just don't think we lost because of B.O.B. play calling in that game. I just wanted to put that out there, bro.
Okay.
Now, all right, on the topic at hand, bro. Good conversation, good topic, man. All right. This is what I want to say, bro. When we get to the essence of it, we go back in the days. You go back to the Stone Age if you want to. Back then, bro, we didn't have all this technology, artificial intelligence. We didn't know. They didn't understand what social engineering was. People were their natural selves. And when you look at their natural selves, how did they behave? You know what I'm saying? And it's along the lines of what you're talking about. Men was the hunters when I got the food. Women kind of just maintained the balance of the home. That's been going on for thousands of years, bro. Up until modern times, where you see a mass migration of women in the labor force. This is a new thing in human history. So I just want to put that out there. Another thing you touched on was the crime rate. You know, why do so many blacks kill each other? And that's a very good question. And I got a few reasons why we kill more of each other than any other ethnic group in the country. Okay. One, okay, I'm going to ask you, did you hear about Putin? It was about a month ago where he made a statement. He said the U.S. need to control, he said mainstream rap in this country should be sanctioned by the state. I don't know if you heard him make that statement.
I briefly heard something like that, but I didn't hear the whole thing.
Okay, well, he got a lot of flack for that. But the more I thought about what Putin was saying, bro, I understand where the man coming from. He like, look, from his angle, ain't no way I'm going to let a genre of music, like, indoctrinate the minds of my in a negative way. That's all the man was saying. And when I thought of that, hey, you know, it's some validity to that. Because rap music, I'm going to say mainstream rap music, is not the end-all, be-all, but it's definitely part of the problem. You know what I'm saying? The way the women are degraded in the music, the way violence is promoted in the music, the way drugs, the use of drugs, the selling of drugs is promoted in music, all that is a problem, bro, for any normal, functional community. That's a problem. Now, some people might be mad at what I say, but at the end of the day, it's facts, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm not making a blanket statement saying, you know, all rap music. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying when you listen to the content of mainstream rap, hey, bro, no, like I said, no stable, functioning person would want their kids to consume that. But anyway, I think that's part of the problem, it's especially subconsciously, because a lot of times we don't really put much thought into what we do. We just, you know, we just go with the trend. We go with the trend. Kind of like the whole R. Kelly thing, bro. like, okay, they put their documentary come out, everybody talking about it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? In another week or so, they're gonna put something else out, and people go, whatever the trend is, bro. That's what people do. Which leads me to my next point that I realized a couple years ago. Most people are sheep, bro. Real talk. They can't think for themselves. They scared to stand alone on issues like you're talking about, like the assault on masculinity. Like only a handful of people is willing to take a stand and defend what they believe in. You know what I'm saying? Because they know that it might be consequences, you know, if they do take a stance on it. Now, I agree 100%, bro. It is an assault on masculinity. I'm telling you from personal experience, my son in the school, just stuff that was happening, bro. They want these boys to be soft, man. I don't have the answer why. I'm just telling you what it is, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, and it was something else you touched on. I guess, bro, in a nutshell, that's pretty much it. Because at the end of the day, man, people, like when you look at our society, bro, it's a lot of moving parts, man. And I'm gonna be real, like, and I don't understand why they wanna feminize males, man. I can't get it for the life of me. I got some ideas, but at the end of the day, I don't understand why males themselves, ourselves, will want to be feminine. That's not our nature, man. You know what I'm saying? But again, a lot of us, bro, I'm gonna just say, man, I heard a dude say one time, and I'm gonna repeat it: whatever they serve you, you eat, and that's the bottom line. That's what I got, Honcho. Appreciate it, man.
Man, I already appreciate the call, Ernest, man. You got some stuff I got to talk about.
All right, bro.
Already. So, man, he said something right there at the very end. Now, everything he said was good, but what he said right there at the very end, I don't want to talk about the rap things. Why would males want to be feminized? What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling in to the den this evening?
Hey, man, this is Kenneth.
Kenneth, what you want to drop? Why it sound like you in the bathroom, man? Don't be calling me from the toilet, Kenneth. What's the motherfucking deal, Kenneth? What you want to drop in the den tonight, man?
Nah, man, I kind of wanted to drop was, you know how about almost 4 weeks ago that I called and I asked you that this teacher was teaching us this shit about, you know, why men need to share their feelings and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was like another thing that I noticed. I'm like, man. And I noticed it. I'm like, bro, why is she showing us this shit? Like, out of all the things that you could be teaching us, you teaching us that men need to share their feelings, that young men need to share their feelings. I'm like, dog, I don't know if you expecting the 2 or 3 at most alpha males that are in this classroom to, you know, start acting different. Like, I don't know what she thought what was gonna happen, but that shit right there, that just showed me like the shit that they are trying to push in these schools, you know, that they're trying to push in the schools. But that's all I wanted to say, man.
All right, appreciate the call, Kenneth.
Appreciate it.
All right. So yeah, but basically what he's saying is, like I say, that y'all low key don't realize, and that's what I was talking about earlier about how the overwhelming population of teachers are female, and again, it makes it easier on them. And, you know, they ain't trying to break up fights between boys or deal with any of that stuff. It makes it easier on them to do their job. Again, they want to make you more docile. But what Ernest said, you know, why would men want to be more feminine or try to help, you know, feminize the population? They want to lower the levels of competition. They want to lower the barrier of entry. You know, they think that if they soften up everybody, you know, maybe it'll be easier for them to compete. Instead of toughening up themselves, they would rather everybody else, you know, get weaker. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very, very odd position to be in, you know, and it's sad, really. Really, honestly, it's a very sad thing because, again, instead of taking the time to improve who you are, you know, you would just rather everybody else get weaker. Oh, hold on, what does this mean? I don't know. Somebody. Okay, we'll get on that. And I don't know what that is. But again, like I said, they would rather everyone get weaker. They would rather everyone become softer. Again, like I say, that makes it easier for them to compete. They think that they'll have more selection of women in that way. But what's going to happen when men get more feminine? Women just going to go be with women. Shit, that's basically what it is now. You know what I mean? Shit, it is what it is. And I think that is part of what's been going on, what's been happening. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling in on the den this evening? Oh shit, my fault. Hold on. My bad. All right, who we got calling in on the den this evening?
Hey, it's your boy Josh again, man.
Already, Josh. What's the motherfucking deal? What you want to drop in the den tonight, Josh?
All right, man. About this masculinity topic, man. I hit it right on the head again, man. Like I said, it's always just like history always repeating itself. Because remember the time I caught in the den talking about this? I was on this girl IG Live that wanted to play football and try to be with the guys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Remember that a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Same issue, man. Like, now with me, it's like I don't mind like people being ambitious and doing whatever they want to do. I mean, I encourage anybody to do what they want to do in life, but it's just certain stuff that's like a little bit crossing my mind. Like, you know, like, because, you know, like females talking about, okay, now they can go and play in the NFL. I mean, I don't know about all that. But the way the rules going, I don't know about all that either.
Yeah.
So it just goes to the point where women trying to do everything that a man could do. At the same time, they want men to assert more strength and assert more power, but how you going to give the man a freedom to do that if you want to do everything that the man wants to do in the first place and not want to give the man a chance? So it comes back to a situation where people just flat out just don't know what they want. One day they want this and the other day they want that, man. People just got to make up their minds on what they want to do and what they want to be, man. And that's what I want to say about that, man.
Okay, man. Appreciate your call, Josh.
All right, man.
Already. People don't know what they want, man. And I believe that's true, too, because we live in a very confusing society that will tell you this and give you that. I do want to talk about, I'm glad you mentioned that project. Ernie said something real interesting, man. Real interesting. That might be a damn den topic all in itself, but I want to speak on it briefly. Excuse me. And that is about rap music, mainstream rap music. And let's be honest. Let's be honest. Lesbians. No. But let's be honest, man. What mainstream rapper right now is pushing forth something credible and beneficial to society? What mainstream rapper is encouraging people to really do better as a whole? Let's see, Cole. I see y'all saying some tomfoolery. Let's see, I see a couple people saying Cole, Kanye, Jay-Z. Jay-Z now, and this is what I say, why is it that when rappers get old, then all of a sudden they're activists and shit like that? Because we see T.I. now, he's a prominent activist, but how much of his music done got niggas killed and locked up, you know, along the years? But you don't see him denouncing any of his old shit, do you? No, absolutely not. So Nipsey, I fuck with Nipsey, but Nipsey still, he still talk about some shit, but he does talk about, you know, doing business. But Nipsey's not even mainstream though. That's the thing. Nipsey is what you would consider an independent artist. He's not pushing no labels, no pushing behind him or anything like that. Kendrick, I don't know. Like, I know people say Kendrick is conscious. I don't know. I think there's some back and forth. I think there's some vice versa there. But anyway, but the thing is, when you really look at it, there's really not. And even if it is, it's a small small fraction of a percent, if it is any. Okay. And if you look at the music, it may be one or two songs that might be positive, but the overwhelming majority is probably about some old negative shit, some about retaining the same mentality about the hood shit. But then you go and you look at it and you say, okay, well, is it the rapper or is it the listener that they want this same message over and over to justify their existence? You know, I think Kendrick was a borderline agent. I ain't like saying listen too much. What's going on with Kendrick? But you know, it's crazy because the music influences in waves. And again, you see what, again, like the little 6ix9ine kid, motherfuckers yelling Treyway and all this other shit. Don't even know what they fucking talk about. You promoting some gang that's out there, you know, murdering and shooting up or whatever else the fuck they talking about they doing. You ain't part of no fucking Treyway, but you promoting this shit. You look at, like he said, the waves, the trends and shit. Like we follow every trend. The R. Kelly thing, now that's everything. Everybody. And again, it's so, people are so easily manipulated, especially black people. Let's throw it on the TV and watch what happens. Now we threw something on the TV. Let's get rid of R. Kelly. We put anything on TV. It's going to change the minds of people because the TV told me. The TV is authority to people. That's why I had to put myself in the television. Goddamn, now I'm fucking with y'all. I really ain't think about that till just now. So again, yeah, Lupe, but who jamming Lupe? Nobody want Lupe don't get no love. You know what I mean? Lupe last couple of albums, maybe nobody even check out. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den this evening? I like Lupe. Yeah, he's about maybe the only one consistently. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den this evening?
It's Edmund.
Edmund. What's the motherfucking deal? Edmund, what would you like to drop in the den tonight?
I know you were speaking on, you know, how the rap culture has affected society and how it's affected the youth. But don't you think that these rappers are trying to come up out of the hood, you know, trying to get out this impoverished area that, you know, they've been living for their life, trying to help their parents, trying to, you know, just trying to get them out of the current situation that they're in. You know, they may not, I think they're doing it more because of the fact that they want to represent where they came from. I don't know what you think about that.
All right. And here's what I'm gonna say about that. It's a saying in the rap. And I appreciate your call. Do you have anything you were gonna want to add to that? Because I'm gonna speak on what you said there.
Yeah, I just have one more thing.
What you got?
In terms of, you know, the rap culture and how it has affected society. Do you think that these artists, or do you think that these production companies, or, you know, these record labels, aren't they the real root of the problem, because they're the ones that are signing these, you know, young artists as young as 16 years old to big contracts? So don't you think that they're the root of the problem that we have?
Okay.
So I'll let you speak on that.
Okay. Interesting. Very good call. Appreciate the call there, man. I'll definitely speak on that. Here's the thing. If the artists weren't already making that kind of music, then they wouldn't be getting signed to it. If the people didn't already say, okay, well, they have a propensity for making this kind of stuff, you know, Bobby Shmurdas and all that other stuff. And yet, you know, he dancing on the table and all that, but we don't use that coon term, but we'll get to that. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den this evening?
Yo.
Ah, yes. Mr. Cushington. How are you doing this evening?
Things to say. One, fuck you nigga for not greeting me when I stepped in the room.
I ain't even see you in the room, nigga. Look at it. The rap music got you using the N-bomb. No.
And two, to come up with, I'm talking about with this rap music thing.
Yeah.
You know that rap music is the only form of music where they diss each other. You don't see that in country music. You don't see that in jazz, Latino music, none of that. Rap is the only music where you'll see a diss track in. You ain't gonna see Garth Brooks dropping a diss track against I don't know another artist name right now in country music, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Talk about he stole my wife, that piece of shit. I'm gonna go to his house and fuck his bitch on my horse. Yeah, on my horse. You ain't hear that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's rap music. That's what we talk about. It's always negative. Don't get me wrong. They got some emotional songs in the country world.
Yeah.
They got the real emotional songs. But it ain't just all about. It's not always like you don't hear. And once again, you don't hear that. Fuck that nigga. I'm gonna do it all on my own. You don't hear that type of shit either.
Yeah.
It's only in the rap music where you hear that type of shit. It's like we steady bringing each other down, but then talk about how we need to uplift each other. Well, how is that possible if you got a whole CD about fucking everybody, but you talk we need to uplift each other? That's crazy as hell.
Mm.
Don't trust that nigga. I love all my fans. What?
You ain't
That
lying.
makes no sense.
You ain't lying.
And the last thing I want to say before I get off this, don't you ever open your mouth and talk about 6ix9ine again, man. Free my nigga 6ix9ine, nigga. Treyway all day, nigga. Fuck that.
Thank you for the call, Cushington. Stapleton does go hard. Chris Stapleton be jamming. But I will say this. Who was it? Was it Skinner? Skinner threw a little diss back in the day. I don't know if y'all fuck with that old classic rock. They threw a little diss back in the day, one that I can recall, but it's not the premise of the music, you know. Tell O'Neal, young man don't need him around anyhow. So y'all may or may not know about that. But again, appreciate the call because I mean you're on some good shit. Again, so let me make sure I address these, man, because like I say, all very valid points. Last couple of calls been very good. What that man was saying though about you know, is it these guys trying to get out the hood? Yeah, absolutely. But then why does it hello, y'all on fire. Hold on, okay. What's the motherfucking deal? We got called into the den this evening.
Hey, what's up, Honcho's Ferocious Film?
Ferocious, what's the motherfucking deal? What'd you like to drop in the den tonight, Ferocious?
Man, I know y'all talking about that rap shit right now, but I really wanted to get back to that attack on masculinity.
Okay.
I just wanted to say, you know, growing up in a broken home, raised by a single mother and shit. Not only was I raised by a single mother, but some of my cousins as well. And what I saw a lot was homosexuality being glorified as comical. And now you see, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, since the adults was glorifying it as comical, then it became like a way of pleasing them. And now you just see it spread all throughout the, you know, community, neighborhood, everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And thankfully, I wasn't a victim of it, but I just wanted to put out there that, you know, maybe if it wasn't viewed as you know, such as you know, maybe if it wasn't as viewed like it was funny, then it wouldn't be such a big problem as it is now. Which that's how I feel. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying the den, or I'm not putting that on you, how you know, your view on homosexuality and all that, but I'm just putting it out there what I think.
Okay. Man, I see your point. I understand what you're saying. I got you. That's a good point, man. Anything you want to add to that?
Nah, man, I'm done.
All right, man. I'm gonna speak on that, man. I appreciate your call, Ferocious. All right, man. Good point, man. The way you put that, because if you think about it, you know, when it wasn't necessarily taken serious, you'd always have that one character with a kind of effeminate character or whatever, and it was just viewed as, you know, he was just a funny little side character. But then slowly that character started becoming the mainstream. That shit became the ideal thing. I don't hate anybody. Again, like I say, it is, you know, I respect everybody as long as you don't cross my threshold with the nonsense. Yeah, you do whatever the fuck you do, man. As long as you respect me, I respect you. And like I say, I'm about respect. But once you start getting into the shenanigans and you start getting into the tomfoolery with, you know, some of that stuff, we gonna have some issues. What's the motherfucking deal? We got called into the den this evening.
This Baker man, man.
The Baker man. What's the motherfucking deal, Baker man? What you want to drop in the den tonight, man?
Grooving.
Ready?
Man, all right, I'm gonna speak on this masculinity shit.
Okay.
All right, so dig, it's an attack on what
feel is the warrior class, right? Because like when you look at it, like the gays, they'll get down for theirs, but at the end of the day, for the most part, they're not about to just jump up and be on some let's buck the system type shit. They just not. There's that, and then I also think it may be a means of population control, because it's like you can't put your wiener in no dude and make a whole nother dude. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
okay.
I feel like that's what that's about too.
Okay.
It's for a bunch of reasons, man. Like they're easier to control. It's a bunch of shit, bro. Bunch of shit.
Okay, man. I think you brought up a very interesting point that we hadn't addressed yet. Population control. That's a very good one, man. That's a good one. That's a bad, man. I'm gonna speak on that, man. I appreciate you calling, Baker, man. The Baker, man. It's the first time you called into the den, or it's been a minute since you called into the den. I think you called in before, didn't you? But
hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
Already, man. Appreciate you got to call in more often, Baker, man.
I got you, man.
All right, bet that.
All right, yeah.
All right. Interesting. That's a very interesting. That's a very interesting way to put it. Population control. Man, like, look, y'all on fire with the calls here. I got a lot to speak on. I got a lot to address. Let's work our way down the list. I keep saying I want to get back to Ed Man's comment, and what he said. You know, basically about getting their family out the hood and doing all the other stuff. Cool. I have no problem with that. But again, if the artist didn't have the propensity to try to push forth this kind of music, they wouldn't be getting those deals. They wouldn't be getting that stuff. But then again, you say, okay, well, is it because there's a market for it? So do we blame the people or do we blame the artist? Because again, like I think Broderick mentioned Lupe earlier. Lupe puts out great music. Like not just a little catchy beat and you just really vibing with the beat, and then you get, and they hit you with the inception of the ideas through the music. So it's already in them. And so the record companies, they see that person, okay, well, this person is likely to fall in line with what we're seeking. My deal is once these people become, you get money, and money doesn't make you more cultured. You would think so. And then, that's why everybody's chasing after, you get them up out the hood, you move to a nice neighborhood, you're doing all this other stuff. Why don't these people start preaching the glorification of their new neighborhoods? Why don't they start preaching the glorification of the new things that they're able to do now that they have money, to inspire people? Hey, do positive now that you got money. I don't have to do the same shit I was doing, because they're not doing that anymore. They ain't fucking pushing dope and doing all that. And I saw somebody earlier say that Future makes that toxic masculinity music. Yes, he does. I like toxic masculinity, Future. I don't like soft Future. I need that. Need that raunchy shit. I don't need none of that shit at all, but it is what it is. But again, I think when you have so many young people not being able to decipher the difference, they thinking this is the lifestyle. Well, that's what he doing. That's how he got on. That's how he got there. That's how I know about him. That's what I need to do too. And that's not the case, man. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den this evening?
Man, what's good, man? I got calling one more time.
All right, what you got there, Cushington?
Nah, well, just on what you had there, it's crazy. I was just talking about that shit the other day. Not just rappers alone, but black people in general. We always glorify about being from the hood. Oh, I'm from the hood. I'm from this. I'm from that. I'm from this. But how many are still living in the hood, though? Nigga, appreciate the hood for the man that made you. But, nigga, let's not forget, nigga, we wanted to get up out that motherfucker no matter what you may think. We ain't in that motherfucker no more. Fuck the hood, nigga. We talking about that now because I was in the hood. I got my mind right, got my shit together. Now I got me a nice little 4-bedroom house living over here. You know what I'm saying? That's what we need to talk about, the shit that, why we want to get out the hood. Fuck throwing up the hood. Oh, man, the hood this. How many times have you been back to the hood? I couldn't tell you last time I've been back to my hood. Fuck that neighborhood. Shit. I'm trying to get out that motherfucker. And that's what's wrong with the kids. The kids are in the fact that we want to get out of that bitch. All they see is talk about the hood this, the hood that. So they want to be hood niggas too. That's what they see. And half of niggas ain't hood niggas because they living in the good neighborhood. Their parents got to put themselves in now. But they still trying to live that hood mentality. And that's why all this shit happening now.
Yeah, I agree, man. That's what I say. And why is it? That's the music. That's indoctrinating people that ain't even in the fucking hood to still have the hood mentality. And that shows you the power of the music, man. Man, good call by Kush, man. And man, I'm glad you mentioned that, Baker, man. Baker made a tag me in a video the other day. I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with Brother Polite. I hadn't watched none of this stuff in quite some time, but I like what he's about. But I think he is. If I wasn't sure, I wasn't not a polygamist and something of that sort. Not a bigamist, but he's definitely about having. You know, I think he had multiple women. He had, he taught his kids several languages, and he's about, advancing, black behavior. And he still dresses relatively cool, but he has a message behind it. But he was basically talking about the funny thing about the hood, and when you get up out the hood, is that the hood, we act like it's a black community. We act like these are black neighborhoods, but is it really? Because what do blacks really run in those communities? They don't really run the schools. They don't run the curriculum. They don't run the banks. They don't really run the businesses. They just live in an impoverished area. It's still a community ran by others. Maybe it be white, maybe it be Asians on the corner store, whoever operates the bank, whoever has whatever other little, the cleaners and everything else. So you're just living in an impoverished community, basically ran by others. So if it was your community, you would run it. And so the fact is that blacks aren't owning things. They're not really running things. And so it's not really your hood. So we're just happy to be in some impoverished area. We're representing some impoverished bullshit that you don't own no land. You don't run anything. We rep in a hood that's owned by completely somebody else, but you shooting it up and claiming it and doing everything else with it. Mexicans run the taco truck and the lawn services. That is racist, but true. I said Jesse and Polite had it, man. I'm on that. Like I said, I ain't super big on Jesse. I've watched some things more recently that may have softened some of my views because he's funny. He's funnier than I remember, because the original shit I saw from him, it was just kind of But it's a couple of things I'll check out. Jesse Lee and Polite, I will check it out. I will definitely check that out. So Indians on the mobile one. I can't tell you when the last time I seen a fucking mobile. But man, like I said, y'all been on so much good shit tonight, man. We got plenty to talk about. We got plenty to discuss, man. But getting back to the music and saying, like I say, but Chris was saying, like, why do we not glorify the fact that we done made it up out? Why aren't they doing that? Why? Hey, I'm over here now. Guess how much better shit is on this side. Hey, I ain't got to sell dope. Ain't nobody getting shot over here. I might get a couple of funny looks, but shit, it's funny we talk about getting funny looks because shit, you get funny looks in the hood. Just the motherfuckers looking at you look the same. They're more likely to take some kind of action on you, depending on how you looking back. You know what I'm saying? So again, this is not hating the hood, because you want people to see, okay, hey, here's the struggle and what it makes you. And I want to say, the last couple of shows, and I think Ernest been called similarly, and Broderick called similarly, basically about what you learn there. But then when you get up out, it's a better situation, and you can take what you learn and apply it to end up not back in that situation. And then you take and you build a better life for your kids or whatever else it is, and then you help them to move forward, because that's ultimately what it's about. You want to make a better generation. So you want to have it, if you had it tough, you get up out that bitch, you make it better for the next generation. They can get it and make it better for the next generation. But you have a lot of times in the hood, you have motherfuckers who have kids and they blame their kids for their problem. They blame everything. They don't even want their kids to be better than them. They don't want their kids to make it because they didn't make it. You'll be surprised. Like I say, when you have a mindset of lack versus a mindset of abundance, you're going to get two different responses. Again, so very, very interesting. But talking about the music again, you said the record companies, and is it their fault? No. Because if you weren't making the music, they couldn't play it. If the people weren't craving that, then they couldn't play it. But people want to be reminded of their situation. They want to use that as an excuse as to why they are where they are, and they don't want to get up out that shit. What's the motherfucking deal? We got called into the den this evening.
This is Baker again, man.
Baker, man. What you want to drop in the den tonight, Baker, man?
All right. So to touch on the music shit again. All right. I want to point out that music bypasses the conscious mind. I say that because, like, think about how many times you've been in the club and, like, the DJ be like, all the bad bitches, get your ass on the floor and come twerk some, right? And, like, you can't go call the bitch a bad bitch. You call the bad bitch a bad bitch, she'd be like, nigga, your mama's a bitch. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what I feel like music is being used for, to kind of program the masses, like the people who just kind of just blindly following what's being presented to them on the TV screen and, you know what I'm saying, on the airwaves and shit.
Man, you on fire with that one.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say.
All right, man. Appreciate the call, Baker, man. That's a shit. Another good one. Already. Man, and that's true. Man. Like, you motherfucking me you can't go do that, man. You go to a random, but man, you a bad bitch. Now, she low self-esteem-ish, you know, and she just do it to it. You might get away with it, you know, but you do that in the club with a beat behind it, she all on that shit, you know what I'm saying? What's the motherfucking deal? We got calling into the den this evening.
Hey, what's up, Honcho? This is Ernest again, man.
Ernest, what's the motherfucking deal, man? What you want to drop in the den tonight?
Yeah, I want to add to the convo, man. 2 quick points on the aspect of the music. All right, we got to look at the root of it, right? Okay. When rap first came out, bro, it was somewhat, you know, it wasn't bad, bro. It was hip hop is what it was, you know what I'm saying, before gangster rap. Mm-hmm. And when the crack epidemic happened, then bam, here come gangster rap. You know what I'm saying? Now, it was bad in the 90s during the crack epidemic, bro. Anybody who lived during that era can testify to that. Yeah. So if this where it emerged from, and we living in a post-crack era, we have to learn to try to get past that. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody today, I'm talking about this generation, want to smoke crack. So why do you still want to consume a product that emerged from the crack era? That's just something to think about, bro. Now, it was something else, bro. Man, slipped my mind that quick. All right, on the aspect of the music industry, bro, I do think that they got something to do with it, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay. Because they control it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Now, at the end of the day, I do agree. The people who consume it, who buy it, hey, share a portion of that same blame, no doubt. And those of us who came up at that time, bro, it ain't easy, like trying to uncondition your mind or recondition your mind, recondition your behavior. That's hard to do, bro, because your whole life you've been doing things a certain way. But at the end of the day, it's necessary in order to break the cycle. You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much what I wanted to add, bro.
No, really, man. Appreciate the call, Ernest.
All right.
No, really. Man, it's true, man. It's not easy to not easy to recondition yourself, man. So yeah, I agree. But necessary. I gotta jot that down. Like I say, man, y'all on fire. Look, the topic should have been about rap music shit. But here's the deal. Let me run down some of these, because like I say, a bunch of them were about music, so I'll run down and try to catch you, some of these points all in one. But again, like I say, change what you're rapping about. If you lose fans, lose followers, well, then fuck it. Then it's more of a love of the money than anything else, and that's ultimately what it is. So they're gonna keep pushing the same shit. Man, Ernest hit it damn near on that. Man, he basically hit it on the head. Why continue to consume a product that emerged from the crack era? You ain't fucking, motherfuckers ain't fucking with crack. So why fucking do that? And that's why I wonder too. Sometimes, like, eventually this shit has to die out, right? Because motherfuckers can't be consuming. I mean, I guess it still is, but motherfuckers can't be consuming crack still in the same manner that it was. That's why you see all these new drugs, and they talking about the mollies and everything else that go with it. Because I don't think motherfuckers can just sit there and talk about crack all day. I mean, motherfuckers still talking about work. They still talking about powder and all that other shit. But I'm sure there's still a market for it. Of course there is. But I have to believe that it's transitioning. I have to believe that motherfuckers either probably doing more powder and they fucking doing, other drugs, because crack is not, I mean, we know what the outcome of crack is. Now, don't get me wrong, man. I know for a fact there's still some young niggas doing crack, man. There's still, you'll be surprised. There's some motherfuckers who went from pushing it to doing it. Still, but not in the influx that it was when it was the real crack epidemic. There's still a lot of consequences out there from people who consumed it. But I want to get to what Kush was talking about. The only music where they diss each other, no other music does that. I was talking about, Neil. I ain't talking about Neil started for. Neil was a good guy, but always negative, man. So, but then when something wrong happens, it's uplift each other. But then the next single they drop is I'm finna shoot all these niggas. I'm finna kill all these niggas. Y'all niggas gonna die. Fuck you. Fuck everybody. No new friends. But wonder why we can't come together. You know, the message is right there. The shit that y'all, no new friends. But oh man, why they keep doing this? Why we ain't come? Oh, well, there you go, buddy. And so again, and we talked about it's only when somebody outside the quote unquote culture comes in, we want to come together and kumbaya. But like I said, the stats I read to you earlier, you know, the highest murder rate of any race against each other, I mean, significantly higher, what about fucking 4 or 5 quadruple the level of the next, is us on us. We're only 13% of the population, but we are the overwhelming number of murders, and that's us killing us, and wondering why the numbers are diminishing. Because white America, I don't think they'll hold the same percentage in the future. I think Mexican American, well, Hispanics are definitely growing, because you're getting a double dose. You're getting the influx. I don't want to say influx from the border, because I think they're saying it's not as much as it used to be. But you have people who are in the country already, and then you have people who are coming to the country from, you know, South America and things like that. So the Hispanic population in America will continue to grow. White population, I think, will get, you know, diluted on some level by, you know, race mixing and things like that. The black population, we're killing ourselves, you know, murder wise. Again, the level of abortions and everything that comes with it, you know, it's tremendous. And so we're not going to grow. We're actually going to diminish in overall population too, because we're not doing any things to benefit ourselves. Say rational stuff. No, not me. I'm talking crazy. And that's crazy when either the truth will be, you know, considered irrational. But again, we don't. Why not? Why don't we? And again, I told y'all a while back that I had to really cut down on my consumption of rap music. You know, I listen to a little album here and there, and again, like you said about reconditioning yourself, and you know, I catch myself like, okay, yeah, I got to let this go. Let me get back to, you know, I'd rather listen to somebody speak positive over a beat. So if it's some Eric Thomas, Zig, or Jim Rohn, or like I tell you about Bob Proctor, and there's a list of others, and you know, say that I'd rather, you know, they got shit on Spotify, they put their shit over beats and just listen to positive mix, because ultimately it's the message that you're getting out of it. If you're going to get indoctrinated about something that's going to benefit you. What Baker Man said about the calling a woman a bad bitch, but you throw some music behind it, you go up and start rapping to a bitch, you probably can get away with the shit. Now, and I'm gonna get to what Ferocious said. I'm gonna get some of the musical stuff out of the way, and I'm gonna get back to what Ferocious said about, you know, homosexuality and being comical. You know, Baker was. I'm gonna get to what he was talking about, the warrior class too. But when Kush, you know, talking about appreciate the hood, but fuck the hood, you know, getting up out that shit, that, you know, stop glorifying it in the music, you know, and that's why we keep people in this hood mentality. People who ain't ever even been to the hood think they gangster, or they own some shit that, you know, they in the suburbs somewhere, you know, living in a nice cul-de-sac, and I ain't never seen no shit like that ever in their life, but then they engage in the behavior because they think that's what it's supposed to be. And then, like I say, you know, Ernest was talking about, you know, music was hip hop before gangster rap, and the crack product, man. And that's what it is. Like, to me, that is the crazy stuff, man. That's the crazy stuff, because again, we're basically consuming the dope. We're encouraging ourselves, let's do more drugs, and let's run away from our issues and our problems. Let's just do more shit. And again, you know, and this is me as a person who I have no problem with smoking a little weed now and then. I haven't been myself because, like I say, I have goals set before I decide that I should be engaging again. And you know, I got business to handle first before, because that's a pleasure. It's not it's something that you have to. And I think when you treat it like, oh, it's a must, I gotta, you know, you think I gotta get high, I can't do shit till I get high. And I've listened to music like that, and you know, I'm once thought, wow, this is how it impacts me, because I'm listening to all this weed music. Man, I gotta gotta smoke something before I can do this, or I gotta do that. I mean, that's an addiction. You know, these things put these thoughts in your mind, and these things make you behave in a certain fashion. So I speak for the news and their conventions. I'm gonna have a den convention, and we're gonna discuss these things. But Jay Bird texts with Jim Harbaugh. But my thing is again, you know, it's very, very unfortunate, the things that are happening, and I think that you can still have the culture. You can still have the swag. You can have all these things, but you can talk about business. You can talk about prosperity. You can talk about, again, like I say, having a mind state of abundance. You can talk about owning property, and, you know, you may attract a different class of people or a different group of people who may relate to you more so because of your look, or they can, you know, relate with that. But I don't think it always has to be the negative that we push forth. You know, we talk about how crazy music is. Again, you know, you think about not just the rap, you think about some of this R&B, what the women talk about. If you want to call it R&B, even women's rap, you know, Ernest had called in a while back and he said, you know, how can I be telling, you know, I want to say it was Ernest, you know, telling, you know, my kids respect women and to treat them like this and do this. But then you got Cardi B in the background, or you got some other chick in the background talking about fucking and sucking and doing all this. I'm gonna do this to that nigga and this nigga here, and, you know, Lil Kim or whatever else it may be. And then go around and tell you, hey man, you know, respect women, while she singing about magic sticks in the background or some shit. You know, you really can't. And so you can't have the best of both worlds. So you got to kind of pick what side you're gonna be on. Now, Ferocious and Baker Man had some good calls. You know, getting away from the music here. And he was talking about growing up in a broken home, you know, homosexuality was comical. And again, you know, I talked about, you know, if you look at it, there was always that character, the effeminate character, the one he was kind of always awkward or whatever else it was. And that would, you know, it's kind of just, you know, as for comic relief, if you will. Oh, look at that man. He's acting like a woman. He's acting like a broad. And so you would, you know, you see these behaviors and you question. Now my thing is, Kenneth, is how can you recite that line? Like, I don't even know the song. Honestly, I have no idea. But the fact that you were saying that's where I talk about getting indoctrinated. You know what I'm saying? And again about getting impacted, affected. You don't even realize. That's why I get on you a lot, Kenneth. You know, Jay Bird, he's too far gone. Ain't no saving him. But when you come in here repeating these lines, you don't even realize what you're doing. You know, you're repeating these same little corny ass lyrics. That just shows that that's what's on your mind. That's why you're repeating it. That's why you posting it over and over again. You may think you're trolling or being funny, but you don't even realize your mind is affected. And that's why you keep reciting this same shit. You know what I'm saying? So again, you can't even realize what you're doing because you're just thinking, oh, I'm just saying something that's on my mind, but it's there. Why is it in your mind? When you're not even thinking about anything specific. You got rap lyrics coming to your mind. When you are not focused on anything at all, you got weird ass rap lyrics coming to your mind and you reciting them. And, you know, again, you think it's being funny, but every time you recite that same line, it's digging deeper and deeper and deeper. Yes, Jay Bird is a NPC. But like I say, it was talking about the, but again, and I find like again, when you look at something and you laugh at something and it becomes acceptable, y'all, you don't look at it, you know, with disdain, or you don't look at it in a particular way. And again, this is not to be disrespectful of anybody. You know, like I say, if they say they were born that way, who am I to say that you weren't? I'm not a scientist. I'm not a biologist. I'm just another nigga on the internet. But book coming soon. No, but again, you know, it's about the way and what you accept. And again, if you allow, it's almost like the music. So if you're watching a lot of this stuff and you're watching these shows with it on there and you're watching all these things that, you know, that placate you, that say, oh, okay, well, you know, it's not that, there it goes, you know, gay scene, but you kind of halfway watching it, or, you know, and you see kids who see their mother and, you know, cause you got women who are a lot more accepting. And they're saying, oh, you know, oh, there you go. You know, they encourage that type of stuff impacts my life. What you got to realize is, everything that you do, everything that you partake in, we talk about diet, and diet is not just food. Diet is everything that you take in to your body, from sun rays outside to the images you see, to what you see around you, to what you listen to what you read. Everything that you take inside is diet. Okay. So it's not just, again, because you can have a shitty diet of food, your body's going to respond poorly. If you have a shitty diet of information that you take in, your mind is going to respond poorly, you know, and so that's very important. I think that's what you have to realize. And I think the more people realize that, the better. And like I say, I'm trying to get my diet right. It's better overall, food wise. But again, Now, Baker Man said something very, very interesting. The masculinity, talk about attacking the warrior class, but that gays come together to protect themselves, but, you know, not really. They don't really rebel against the system in that sense. So, you know, when it's a gay issue, they come together. And what I've been seeing a lot of lately, who's the dude? Fuck, somebody dropped the name. I know the fucking Democratic politician, second gay guy in 18 months and died of an overdose in his house, fucking with crystal meth or some shit. The big fucking Democratic donator. It's not Donald Beck. I don't know what this. I don't know what his fucking name is, but they've been talking about him all day today because another gay man has died in his house. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna take this call real quick. What's the motherfucking deal, man? Who we got calling into the den this evening?
It's Edmund again.
Edmund. What's the motherfucking deal, Edmund? What would you like to drop in the den tonight?
I don't know if you saw on the news today or on Twitter about the whole Hopkins and Sean King situation, how Hopkins hasn't paid the donation that he promised, and you know the media is now making a big deal about it.
I didn't see that. But it's very interesting because what I've been seeing a lot of today, and I'm glad you brought that up, is I want y'all to I can't remember the exact hashtag, but it's basically the hashtag should be Sean King Block Party or something like that. Because what happened apparently a couple of months ago is some volunteers for Sean King's organization, and they've been putting all this shit out there. For all of you who for some reason think that he's black, if you can't see it with your own eyes, Sean King, and I've been saying this, profits off of black problems because for some reason, ideally when there's a black issue, some blacks feel validated once a white guy steps in and says this and this, but he plays himself off. He's like he's black when he's not. You go, they put his birth certificate out there. They've shown his whole family pictures. There is no blackness in Sean King. And so again, so they were talking about how he steals money from these things and like that. And I wouldn't give him the money fucking either. I wouldn't give him the fucking money either. You know, I would still do something for the family, but because the funny thing about it is, like I say now, one, I donated directly to the family because what is the point of giving him the money? Because he was making it seem like, oh, I got $25,000, I got $25,000. Then, somebody else said they would pledge, well, see, now I got 50, but he was making it seem like it was him doing it. But I haven't seen the whole thing with DeAndre Hopkins and that whole situation, but I would, if anything, I'd give it directly to the family, but I wouldn't give Sean King shit and kiss my ass. But basically, they were putting him out there. But if you go and you try to find that hashtag now, that's what people were talking about, is it's basically completely erased from Twitter. Why is that? Why is, something coming out negatively about Sean King? We talk about, Twitter could be very liberal leaning and those things. But these are actual people who worked for him in his organization. They were saying late one night a couple of months ago, basically they all came out with just kind of, exposing what really goes on with the situation. But yet now you can't find any of that. You can find anything else on Twitter. You can find anything you want about anybody. You find the best porn on Twitter. But you can't find any more hashtags about the Sean King Block Party. And I'm sure some of the shit I saw earlier today probably won't be available once it's all said and done. So super interesting stuff. But I hadn't heard about the DeAndre Hopkins part about it. And again, you're going to have these black people who are so ingrained with Sean King and that, he's here, he's our savior, Talcum X, T.I. Light, if you will. But again, this dude ain't nobody. He had a fucking assault charge when he was young. Just he's nobody, but like to be this super savior. Like, when do you hear from Sean King outside of some race issue? Like he's the, again, like I say, it's some crazy shit, but the people are still deeply ingrained in believing that this man is an honest man. If you can't see that shit, then hey, you want to be boo-boo the food and do you. But I'm not with the shit, never have been with the shit since the first time I've ever seen anything from this motherfucker. Like it was something super suspect about the guy, but yet you still have people promoting and pushing everything that he says. And I think that, hopefully DeAndre Hopkins peep game or somebody close to him peep game. And maybe he can go a different way about it because I think it's crazy.
But yeah, I just feel like Hopkins doesn't deserve to, especially since the playoffs just ended and, game checks don't really come until, probably in a week or so. And with all the expenses of finding the criminal and paying for the funeral costs and all that, like, to have Hopkins in the middle of everything, for him just trying to be a good, humane person, and have him being criticized for not donating the money directly to the family is kind of suspect to me, at least.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's
what happens when
they're criticizing him for giving it to Sean
King. Like, I've never liked the dude. He always.
I'm trying to find. So did he donate to Sean King, or did
situation
he donate to
like
the
he
family?
always loves to get into, people's business, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that.
All right. Well, I appreciate the call there, man.
All right.
But again, like I say, my thing is, hey, funerals they're expensive. They cost a decent amount of money. But Shaq donated to your cause. You had several others donate to the cause. So how much more money do you need? I mean, what kind of funeral are you trying to throw? Again, people trying to take advantage of it. If it would have been any other situation, had it would have been just a black on black situation from the rip, nobody would have paid attention. She'd been dead, had a little funeral. What's going to happen is people are trying to make it a big old deal. You're going to have people coming out who don't even know these people going to the funeral, because black people, we love a sob story, man. We love to go and be on some negative shit. People go to funerals just to make sure motherfuckers is dead. Like, that's the shit that kills me, man. My thing is just that it's wild, man. It's very wild the way that we the shit that we embrace, man. It's terrible. It's fucking terrible. You see, with the university, somebody asked him about his blackness, and he dodged the questions. Well, I wouldn't be surprised. Of course he did. You get the little low fade, look like he really doing something. That dude is, like I say, him, and I know people say logic, but I just look at logic and I don't see it. Look, hey, similar symptoms, I guess. I don't know. It is what it is. But that's very odd, and I don't think the DeAndre should be, caught up in any of that. What was the playoffs a couple of days ago? Shit. He said he could donate his playoff check. So when he gets the playoff check, playoffs, talk about playoffs, then, shit, donate the shit. That's what he said. He just said he was donating the money he already had in his pocket. So he said, my playoff check. Again, so it is what it is. What a pumpkin spice latte. Terrible. But again, man, I think we've had a very good conversation here, man. Y'all have called in with some very, very interesting topics. And the music thing is very interesting to me. I think we may expand further on that later in the week, because I think that that brought some stuff to light. But all right, Ferocious, man, appreciate you following through. But again, like I said, just looking at some of the things that were said about, the attack on masculinity and why they're trying to undermine, manhood, doing things that boys do, being rough, falling, bumping your head, scraping yourself. I got a question before we get ready to start winding it down. I got a question. How much of an impact do you think that video games and digital devices have on this new wave, this new belief? Now it's, hey, I go outside, I can play on my phone, or I can play this game. I don't have to go out and have real world experiences. How much of an impact does that have, especially on this younger generation who they don't play outside? I mean, a lot of that shit has stopped a long time ago. 2000s kids, not the older crowd. I think they still, I don't play outside for a long time, but the 2000s kids, children born in that era, especially, 2005 till now, when the phones really start getting, better technology. I remember little kids on the fucking Nokias playing Snake and shit. So I can only imagine where it's at now. But how much of this has an impact on what happens? The improvement in video games, the graphics and things like this. I could go outside, it's hot, and well, I'm gonna fuck around and chill. But then you still one of the kids who don't have, and you go outside, ain't nobody there, so fuck it. You go to your partner house, y'all playing video games or doing whatever instead of going out on adventures and going out and again, fucking and getting hurt and healing up. Ain't nobody there to save you from every little thing, so you gotta use your own mind to figure out problems and solutions, and instead of just button mashing. Got any more than video games? But I think it's very important, man. I think these are things that we all need to discuss and we all need to consider. You got to switch. Yeah, take video games everywhere. So now you ain't got to be at home now. Shit, motherfuckers doing it on the phone with all these apps. The app games don't even be about nothing. Push your thumb on the screen and fucking do the same thing over and over. You got the little shit where just time wasters and shit like that. That's a significant impact. I think there's a multifaceted things. And so now when you ask those kids, hey, okay, it's time for you to grow up and do things that a man should do. Well, why? Masculinity is bad. I don't want to do, I agree with the women folk because I don't want to do those things. And so that's why you have, we talked about earlier, or it's called wouldn't want to know why men would want to lean towards the more feminine aspects of things. Well, there's a part of the problem. They never were taught. They're never put in a situation where they had to deal with, overcome work and figure things out. You got a text here. Let me see what you got. Okay, my fault. Let's see what you say. Question for the chat. What would it benefit this country to control the black population? Interesting. Very interesting. What does it benefit the country to control the black population? Because we've talked about this several times. I talked the other day, somebody was talking about this situation and race riots and things. Well, there's been a lot of stuff going on. If it ain't rioted yet, it ain't finna happen. What gain? Other than something that you could think of monetarily, and the government is not getting the money, especially if you ain't really paying taxes. You get more money back on taxes than you paying. The money is liquid shit, so the Apples and the Gucci's and all that other shit are the ones benefiting off the money. What is it? What is it that the government really gains by controlling the black population? I don't know. I have no idea what you truly gain. I don't see anything that you gain by specifically controlling the black population that you wouldn't try to gain from controlling the entire population. So I don't see any specific reason why you would. Interesting. Very interesting. So what I think is being said here is, and again, hit me if I'm wrong, is then why do we as a people believe that so much, that the government wants to control us and stop us from doing anything? Yeah, and that's why I say we always claim we're targeted. So I can understand it. And so, why do we as a people always believe that there's a conspiracy theory out to get us specifically? What does the government have to gain from doing that? Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to be blind to the the COINTELPROs and things of that nature. I mean, because you have, you know, government documentation stated that they did do certain things to prevent black leaders from gaining a certain level of success or whatever it would be, or being able to get to a certain level of power. But does that still apply today? Does that still apply today? Because again, like I said, it's documented. You've seen, you know, about MLK. They had informants in his camp. You know, the Black Panthers, they had informants in their camp. I'm sure they had informants around X and every other leader you could probably think of. But does that still apply today? Because the people are so docile now, nobody's really doing anything. You get a little bit here, you get a little bit there. But as a whole, when we have a problem, what do? Stop the cars on the freeway? Prevent people from getting to work? A very interesting question, man. Because I'm trying to figure out what it is. Like, 'cause honestly, like I said, I believe like we do more damage to ourselves than anything. And, you know, pointing to an external factor as to why we can't. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got called into the den this evening?
What's up, Honcho? This is Ernest again, man.
Ernest, what's the motherfucking deal, man? What you want to drop in the den tonight?
All right, I want to comment on that question, bro. The question was, all right, so the question was, what does, can you repeat the question, bro?
Okay. Basically, let me
because I won't.
But basically, it was about what does the government have to gain from controlling. Hold on, let me see. Let me try to bring it all the way up. From controlling black people.
All right. So, yeah. So I'm gonna respond to that initially with a question, and I'm gonna delve a little deeper. All right. A person asking that question is similar to saying, what does the government have to gain by controlling the native/indigenous people of this country? You see what I'm saying? And this is the answer to both of them. When you look at the native and indigenous people in this country that's on reservations today, why would the government want to control them and keep them on reservations? Because they have a valid stake to this land, period. You know what I'm saying? So you minimize their population, et cetera, to where they become so irrelevant to where they can't say nothing. They just out of the way. Same thing with black people. Who built this country on free labor? It was black people, man. You know what I'm saying? And to try to minimize the effect, like when the U.S. bombed Japan during World War II, when they dropped them bombs on Nagasaki and Hiroshima, they gave them reparations for that. You know what I'm saying? Now you're talking about over 400 years of chattel slavery, the worst kind of slavery known to mankind, and no reparation was ever given, even though black people was promised 40 acres and a mule. You know what I'm saying? Once we was freed from chattel slavery. Now, what does the government gain by controlling black people? It's simple. You touched on COINTELPRO and all that, because they know at the end of the day, a woke, focused, and well-informed black community understand what is theirs. You know what I'm saying? And you have to keep them asleep. You have to keep them divided. You have to keep them uninformed. That way, and you have to keep them unorganized. That way, they never come to claim what's rightfully theirs, which is reparations and their 40 acres and a mule. You know what I'm saying? So this is just one of the reasons why the government would want to control the black population. Now, the masses of white America live in fear. We're gonna be real about this, because they know the atrocities that they committed on black people for generations, and they fear that black people gonna try to get some type of revenge for all of the BS that we've done to them over these hundreds of years, right? But this is what they're missing, bro. We're not wired. We're not wired like that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like the stuff that was done to us, bro. We don't got it in us to do that to another ethnic group. Bro, feeding your babies. I mean, using your babies as alligator bait. Like, who do that? They just think about that, bro. Like, what type of individual would? Anyway, like, we ain't wired like that, bro. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, and I'm gonna leave it at this, Honcho. I was talking to this old school dude, bro, and this is what he told me. He say, man, all black people want to do is be left alone, man. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Let us do us without you messing with us, bro. With like every time I pass a billboard, I always see blackness associated with criminality. You know what I'm saying? And this is psychological, man. You know what I'm saying? This is intentional. This is part of the controlling not only of the minds of black people, but the minds of white America, because they want to make it seem like to them that they have to fear us. And this is part of that divide and conquer, because in the 21st century, believe it or not, bro, we really got more in common with each other than we realize, but we stay stuck on the past, bro, and all this other stuff. But anyway, that's what I got. I want to add to that, bro. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Appreciate the call there, Ernest. Okay. And like I said, I think that there's some things to touch on. Oh, okay, that was a damn topic somebody texted in. It says that we just want to be left alone. I agree with that. 40 acres and a mule. Now, this is something I've heard again. I'd have to do more research in that, and I wasn't sure, where that originated. So but I've heard this, frequently. So I don't know the exact details of that. But again, and maybe because, like I said, I've resigned my mind to, hey, it ain't came since it ain't coming. I didn't do it, so I don't really look at it on that level. But I think you had some points, and because I've heard white people say it myself, I've seen it, you see it on the internet, but I've heard actually white people say it personally, that there is a fear that they think that blacks would be able to take over and do what they did. And I don't think that's the case. Like I say, we just honestly want the same platform, want the same structure. But I think that, waiting on someone to come give it to us, I think that we got a lot of people, again, I think that's what some people are still, docile in that mind, thinking that, okay, it's still going to come, or we're going to get it eventually. At this point, we got to do what we did for free, but we got to do it, figure out how to earn off of it and own it. And again, so if they put in that work then to build and create and make all that, well, we got to do that now, in my opinion, but make sure we learn and we know how to own it, know how to keep it. I mean, we know all the atrocities that have happened. We know everything that was taken away. So from that, we talk about history repeating itself. Now we should learn how to maintain it. Now we should learn how to keep it. You know what I'm saying? Now we should learn how to, build off of that. And that's the issue that I think that we are struggling from now. Because I'll be honest, man, let's be realistic. And I agree, like I say, with some of what you're saying. And again, we talked about COINTELPRO and, alligator bait. That shit was a terrible thing. But let's be realistic right now with the mind frame that most black people have. And it's unfortunate, but it's true. If they said, all right, end of this month, fuck tax returns, we ain't going to give you all the money and all that other stuff, but we're going to give you that 40 acres and a mule. I mean, niggas finna turn around and sell that shit as soon as they get it, man. How many motherfuckers going to get it as soon as they get it, they going to motherfucking sell it, because they're not going to want to maintain it. They're not going to want to work it. They're not going to want any of that shit, because to them, that ownership would damn near be slave labor to themselves, to them. Yeah, and like I say, they're going to sell it back to whomever they got it from. If it ain't another nigga who come through and finesse them up out of it, they're going to sell it to somebody white. They may look for a black person first, but then if a white person comes with a higher offer, they're going to forget all that shit we just talked about and sell it. Because the way that we have been mentally, like you said, conditioned. But I think a lot of it has to be to a point where you wake yourself up, where I feel like if anybody can do it, anybody can do it. So if you've done it or they've done it, then you can do it. So if you sitting here and saying, man, I ain't gonna get this, and this, or because you waiting on something, man. You say that farmland came or whatever it is came, and you got all that. You gonna come out on that porch or whatever you got. You gonna sit on that mule. You gonna ride around your property if you don't buck you off and shit. And you gonna be like, man, it's a whole lot of work, and that's how people gonna see it. And they're not gonna want to deal with that, because now the mindset that we've been pushed into is, you know, fast cars, fancy clothes, and all that stuff. We don't care about ownership, man. I mean, we don't care about property, because, like I said, niggas, they'll spend, you know, so much on a car, just fixing up an old car, whatever. There's nothing wrong with that. I like slabs. I like, you know, I love all that shit. That shit is nice and eye candy. Is it the first thing that I would want to do? No, but people would rather give that up for the money, just to go buy some bags. You know, I don't think, you know, we talked about the land, exchange the brand for the land. But I think most people will give that shit up now. And I think right now it has to be a point where all that, like, it's time to, like, we have to refocus. But then again, like I said, it comes down to, you know, finding people with the same belief, man, and building something out of that. But, you know, I think if the case is that that's where they want to hold us down, I think they've been more than successful at that. And I think now at this point, you know, if they did get the ball rolling, we're continuing to push it now. You know, at this point, I feel like we're engaging in all the negativity ourselves, because again, we live in a day and age of the internet, social media. I'm able to come to y'all live and direct from the fucking garage and reach out all over the city, over the world, or whatever else it may be. So why are we not seeking the information? Why are we not in pursuit of the information? Why are we not applying the information that's available to us? We know these things. We know these things. We all know this stuff, but yet we still don't pursue it. At this point, it's a mental thing. We're holding ourselves down. You know, you get as little as that come on, but that's what I'm saying. That's the thing. But most people ain't gonna want that. You know what I'm saying? Most people ain't gonna want that shit. Motherfuckers living in, you know, projects or whatever else it may be. The motherfuckers ain't trying to cut no yard. You know, I can't floss in my yard. If I got 40 acres, a long ways before I see somebody else I can floss on. How can I prove I'm better than folks if they got the same 40 acres as me? We're in a fucked up mind state right now, and I think that if it was, and again, like we talk about COINTELPRO, and I think maybe at that point in time it was, but I think that energy is not the same. There's eyes on everybody now, but I think we're perpetuating the mentality. I think we're perpetuating the mentality on ourselves now, and I think that's the fucked up part about it. What's the motherfucking deal? We got callings at the den this evening.
10
Okay, Edmund, what you want to drop in the den tonight?
What would you do in like, you know how the government is shut down right now, so all the government aid, like welfare, all that stuff, like what would you do in that scenario for those people that need that sort of that rely on those government programs when the government is shut down and they can't receive those benefits?
Man, a tough situation to be in. A very tough situation to be in. Now, if you're talking about older folks, elderly folks, you know, it's a very unfortunate situation. But if we're talking about, again, able-bodied folks expecting that government check to come in, and, you know, this is something we talk about, you know, when you sit and you're content with just that, and that's what you count and hoping on, you know, when something's out of your control, outside of your power, you know, you're at the mercy of forces that, you know, you have no say so in. And so you can be mad, you can be all this because you feel entitled. Well, it's a lot of people feeling this. People who are actually working, you know, for the government that are not getting paid. It's a couple I just saw the other day. They both work for the government. And, you know, I'd like to see that wall get built, but I want to pay my bills too, you know. So again, it's a fucked up situation, but you know, it's fucked up for everybody involved. Like I say, not just, you know, people on government aid, but the people who are actually doing work and not getting paid, man. It's pretty tough. You know, it's a hard sell to sit here and say, you know, you'd be willing to let the government sit out for a year or whatever else it is. You know, things will collapse and you're going to see some real, you'll see some real backlash after that. So I think it'll be very interesting to see how this all pans out, but very unfortunate, man. Fucking nose itching and shit. Yeah, I mean, that's as much as I can speak on that one. still there? Or that's the end of your question? Yeah, I don't think they're adios. So again, man, like I say, it's very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Let's see. I got to keep it hood, and then we steal and bully in here. That's how we get down. I'm perpetuating stereotypes. So here it is. Okay. Very interesting things that we're discussing here. Very interesting. But like I said, I think it's gotten to the point where when we talk about the mentality is now pervasive. Maybe they start realizing, well, fuck it. We ain't even got a trip. We can feed it to them through the music. I mean, maybe there's other underlying things. I mean, because it's like Ernest mentioned earlier, it used to be hip hop, and I think hip hop was a different level. It was more positivity. It was braggadocious, but it wasn't to the level of insulting. I'm gonna kill you and murder you and throw you away and do all this other shit. I think we're indoctrinated with the messages, with the TVs, with all this stuff. I mean, I don't even think it really is. I don't think that the planned effort still exists now. Because shit, you're doing a good job with BET, keeping us stagnant. Whatever channel, a Lifetime, the R. Kelly thing, that's what people are more worried about. Like, again, it's a fucked up situation. But again, like I said, the people now are already confused, like you said, divided. But it's basically pick your poison. You choose how you want to, lose. There's so many platforms that you can lose on. I mean, you can do it, like I say, from all the opportunities to distract yourself from the real cause. The distractions are real. And we accept, we pick our own distractions. So it's very unfortunate, man. There was something else I wanted to say before winding down. I think it was about Ferocious the Comedy. He was talking about the homosexuality, and I can't remember what I was going to say. Can't think of it. So, here's the deal. All right. So, my deal is this, man. My deal is this. What are you talking about? I don't read it. What are y'all talking about? I'll be honest, I don't. Oh yeah, it's gonna fuck people on the tax. They fucked up too, and that's what I'm saying. It's gonna be a lot of upset people, and there's a lot of people that you may think one way, but once their money start getting fucked up, you're gonna hear them saying some other shit. Like I say, I have missed. I see y'all back and forth in the comments. I catch little bits of it. I don't read every one of them. You talking about ask for the bane before I wrap it up? I honestly didn't even realize Jay Bird was in here. Like, no bull. I really didn't realize Jay Bird was in here. Like, I seen somebody tweeting Gay Bird or something earlier, but I didn't realize Jay Bird was really in here. When she take off your Christmas lights, Christmas night, it's fucking December 25th, fucking 11:59. Take them down, god damn it. Man, what I did, I ain't do nothing. I don't know what you got, like I say. So here's the deal, man. Here is the deal. I appreciate everybody who's come through. I appreciate everybody who has shown love and supported the den, but we're gonna get ready to wind it down. Take my ass to bed. I got shit to do. I'm gonna eat first, but then I'm gonna go to bed. But with that being said, I appreciate each and every one of y'all for so they're gonna be asking for the donation, the wall donation bag, right? Like I need that. Boy, you hating. First, I hate my farm shirt and hating on my V-necks. Boy, I just, y'all just ain't got the sauce. Y'all ain't got the den style. But what you talking about? I gave you power. You voted for Kanye. What you got? You got about a minute and a half. If I give you that, maybe like 30 seconds. You just got half a minute. See, look, you can start. Look at you, Jay. You can start some shit. Yeah, because I got fat, man. I started eating good. The shirt was getting a little tight on me. You know what I'm saying? I was eating pretty good. I gotta get some of the weight back off me. But I'm on a good track. I lost about where was I at? I was at what, 278? But here's the thing, I've been eating like shit, honestly. Since fucking I posted that picture on my gram, and I've been losing weight. Well, it's because I'm just not eating as much, but I'm still eating shit foods. So there's that. Yeah, it's like 267 now. So slowly but surely. That shit sound good. I'm gonna go eat something I'm gonna eat something now. Some old rotisserie or something. James wants a deal. Free James and bad as alts. I'll look at it. Got too many damn alts. I don't know how many alts you have. Well, you got too many. We'll think about it. Let me think on it, and I'll give you an answer on it. I'll give you an answer on it tomorrow. Check that out. Family Dollar employee goes off after spoken local 10 reporters. So I'll check it out. But here's the deal. Like I said, we're going to get ready to wind it up. Mr. Fox the Third. I don't know about that either. I'll think about it. The thing about it, yeah, it's like it's nothing. Again, you know, calorie deficit. That's really all it is. Drink plenty of water and fucking have a calorie deficit. I almost wouldn't be surprised, but if he did get reelected, I would not be surprised, because I think it's just the mood of this country and the things that the message that the Democrats are pushing versus, you know, what he's pushing. Democrats are pushing all these personal feelings and emotions and pronouns. Trump is pushing, you know, jobs and money and you know, nationality and pride and things like that. And that's what people care more about. They don't care about, you know, the individual, the pronouns. They want to feel, you know, that the country has strength again. And I don't see, you know, if Elizabeth Warren is running, yeah, count that out. That ain't gonna happen. I don't really see who the Democrats are going to put up that is really going to be able to compete. I think they said Bernie was going to try to run again. They're going to X him out again. So it's going to be very, very interesting. So, you know, I mean, yeah, if you want to learn all 92 gender pronouns and shit, you gotta figure it out. So that's definitely a tough one. So I think Port Arthur's got the best seafood restaurants hand down. I ain't been to PA in a minute, man. It's been a minute. Who was it? Who was the Boudin shop? I can't remember the name of that spot. They had some damn good fucking Boudin in that bitch. I can't remember the name of them motherfuckers. Was it? And Port Arthur, was it Don's? What was it? I thought it was something. I thought it was named something else. Was it Don's Boudin out in Port Arthur? I can't remember the name, but that shit was good as fuck. But if it is, then cool. I'm gonna have to slide like a damn near worth taking a trip just for some goddamn Boudin. But here's the deal. I'm gonna get ready to wrap it up. No mixer crew tonight. Take my ass to bed. I'm finna eat and go to sleep. Boudin Hut? I mean, I honestly can't. Like I said, I can't even remember. It was on like a little, I want to say it was like a little corner store type deal. If I'm thinking about it, I might be Judas. Yeah, that's the one. That's what it is. That's what I'm thinking about. That's the one I'm thinking about. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Lotus, man, Lotus was overrated to me. I went to Lotus a couple of times. It was kind of overrated to me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think so. Man. But with that being said, now Chick-fil-A ain't fucking with none of them. But with that being said, Wednesday did Nutrition in America. No, I think we have to. I've been looking at what dens were the most popular and what was getting the most, play. So I got a couple of subjects, but I got a couple of texts for some good subjects, and I may do a little bit more research. We might come back to the music, because the music thing was unexpected, and it was real good, man. It was real good. So I think there's some other layers that we can look into as far as that. So yeah, we'll get into that. With that being said, cheeseburger. Yes, I don't know. I've known some people who've had some interesting speech impediments, so it is what it is. They ain't even tripping. You still beefing with big money? Hold love, babe. But that's a bet, man. I appreciate y'all. Y'all be cool like y'all be cool. I see Senior Simpin has probably took his ass to bed. He got to get all his energy to carry all the backpacks and tie all the shoes and deliver apples tomorrow and carnations and shit. So with that being said, man, y'all be cool like y'all be cool. I appreciate y'all for coming through the den. Hey, and I'm out. Y'all ain't got to go home. Ain't no mixer. Y'all should be at home. Go to bed. That's what y'all need to do. I'm out. Man, cut the TV off, all that shit. Y'all still here? Read that disclaimer. All right, I'm out for good.